as hard as that song hits, I think I really need to get it changed because it says, Sundays at 4 o'clock. I just need to delete that part. Anyway, welcome to an exclusive interview. And my co host is here somewhere. He's over. Oh, there he is. There's David.
I'm here.
What is up,
Ladies
my friend?
and gentlemen, David Estacado here, live with the St. Ron and the little homie, as always, Lorenzo Lucha.
Man, look, so we're talking about the gathering tonight. So the gathering, not the gathering of the Juggalos. This is not Detroit or Ohio or wherever they hold that. This is the gathering in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's happening this weekend, starting tomorrow. Yeah, I looked at the calendar. Starting tomorrow. This thing is a 4-day professional wrestling convention.
It's an experience.
I was there last year, and you want to talk insane. By the time I got home, I was dead to the world for like the next 3 days. I was no good. I'm not much good anyway, but I was definitely dead the next 3 days. So anyway, let's bring on our guest tonight. 20 plus years in the wrestling business. This is Mr. Bill Hazelwood. How you doing this evening, sir?
Ron, how are you, buddy?
Man,
I had a gnat in my glass of wine, and I was told, don't worry, he won't drink much, so I didn't even get him out. So hold on just a second.
Well, now he's doing the backstroke.
I don't know if you've ever tasted wine garnished with gnat, but it's not that bad. How you guys doing, man?
We're doing great. I'm doing great.
Yeah. Apparently, you're doing fantastic.
Absolutely, man. I'm up here at my mother's house in the beautiful mountains of North Carolina, getting in the zone. And it's certainly not the auto zone, man. It's the gathering, a.k.a. the 4-day Marty party. Kicks off tomorrow, man. And like you were saying before you brought me on, man, you were there last year. And it can't be explained, man. Only experience. I mean, I'm certainly not bashing any other conventions out there. There's probably one every weekend. But Marty T-Mart Diamanto just does it different, man. He's of that old school mentality that I've got. Different's not always better, but different's always different. But in this case, different is better. So it's just going to be unreal.
When you look at the posters for these, which I can show, the amount of talent on this, you got the Nasty Boys, you've got Diamond Dallas Page alone for me is worth going. There's no doubt about that. You got Kurt Angle, Ricky the Dragon, Doink's on there. It's loaded. Slick is in the background. The Mortons, Rock and Roll Express are there. You got the Headbangers. It is stacked.
Well,
it is absolutely stacked.
I kind of want to talk about it almost like this year, of course, but planning for next year because the VIP ticket is sold out. And I'll just start with the fact that tomorrow, Thursday at 4 o'clock, the fans get to stay there at the Hilton, which is at University Place in Charlotte. We're going to have a Q&A that I'm going to host. Now, I can't tell you who it's going to be. It's a surprise guest. But I've done a bunch of those over the years because the gathering, this is our 4th year. And Marty kind of just took over, a few years back because Greg Price did a phenomenal job with the Mid-Atlantic Wrestling Convention that I hosted for several years there. And, Greg kind of retired and Marty reached out to me and it just tomorrow at 4 o'clock is going to be a Q&A. Then tomorrow after that, there's a a barbecue to where the fans can eat with the wrestlers. Okay. And the other thing is, you got the bar there at the Hilton and, the wrestlers hang out at the bar with the fans. They have karaoke after that every night. But it's just unreal. I mean, it's as we go along, I kind of explain the format, but I think the super ticket. So let me kind of tell you, because you guys can't get that this year, but next year you need to plan for it. It's $379. But let me tell you what you get for that. Okay. It's a 3.5 day Marty Party convention, whatever you want to call it. So I'll just start with Thursday. The super ticket allows you into the barbecue, okay, to eat with the wrestlers. It allows you to know all the Q&As, which I think we have 7 or 8 scheduled for this time. It allows you into the vendor room, which the normal general admission is $29. But also we bring in 24 super guests, and there's 8 of them in a private air-conditioned room on Friday. The people that hold the VIP tickets are the only ones allowed in there. They're guaranteed 2 autographs per superstar on Friday. They get to go to the banquet, I think, on Friday night, which is like a Hall of Fame kind of thing. They, induct people and stuff like that. Saturday, they get 8 more items signed from 8 more of the superstars. They get to attend the wrestling matches on Saturday night. They get 8 more stars with 2 autographs on Sunday. So it's all coverage area. It works out to like $5 or $6, for an autograph or something. Nobody can beat that. And Marty's got some amazing, unique items. He's got a big poster, the one that I forwarded to you. That's our official poster. You can get that signed. He's got a gathering turnbuckle that everybody can sign. And, if you're not able to attend, he does mail-ins. I mean, it's just unreal the amount of stuff that you get. But the party atmosphere is unreal. And I've been to conventions, and I've been part of conventions, and I'm not knocking anybody, but I walk in, and everybody's at a table and stuff. There's no music, there's nothing, there's nobody announcing anything. The guys have their banners behind them, and some guys have long lines, some guys don't. I'm constantly on the mic because there's pro photo opportunities throughout the 3 days with say, I'm just using this as an example. We did the Rock and Roll Express and the Midnight Express. Like a feud kind of photo. It's a pro photo. You take a picture. It's an 8x10 printed out with you. So, I mean, I'll go down the thing. I've got my second phone here. I'm a high-tech redneck because there's just so much stuff. I can't even fathom it. I mean, it's unreal. So, a Wrestle Cage coming up. It's going to be world-class. But I'm telling you, man, the 4-day Marty party known as The Gathering is just something that's just unimaginable. I'm going to click into my second phone here, and you guys go ahead. I'm technologically challenged, so hold on.
Yeah. So we did have somebody chime in. It's a viewer named Adam Jackson saying hi. What's up, Adam?
How you doing, bud?
Yep. So, dude, like he said, I was there last year. I got there in the morning before anything really started, and it was already packed when I got there.
There's fans at the Hilton now. This is people's vacations every year. There's fans that were at the Hilton yesterday. They do off a block of rooms for the fans at a special rate. In the University of Hilton, it's a Hilton. And ain't like it's some warehouse that they set up a bunch of tables and do a bunch of stuff. I mean, it's the Hilton, man. We wrestle at the Hilton. You were there. We did your podcast, air conditioned comfort. I mean, it's first class all the way.
I did the filming for High Spots last year at the Gathering, and that was a good amount of work because that's a heavy ass camera. I'm not going front, but it was an experience unlike any other. Getting knocked into the crowd by Sandman is I want to see a list of guys.
I think Sandman gave out a case of beer, half a can at a time too. I think he took about 20 minutes to get in the ring because he walked around pouring beer in everybody's mouth. I think that was and they didn't know he was coming. Right. Marty kayfabed that. I knew it was going to happen, but you just never know. I mean, I'm going through here right now. The Godfather's going to be there. Ahmed Johnson, who doesn't make a lot of appearances. So, and again, the headliner is the man, the greatest wrestler on the planet, when it comes to shoot wrestling with Kurt Angle, is headlining it. But Maven, first time appearance. I mean, it's just off the chart. It's my escape from reality, but man, it is a ton of fun. Thursday night, the bar be packed with wrestlers and fans. Friday night, the dinner, and then they're in the bar again till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, Marty told me last year he got about 9 hours sleep in 4 days, and I believe that. I mean, it's just a off the chart, different kind of convention there is. I mean, you can't miss anything because I'm given a run sheet every day, even if there's changes. Photo ops, people don't run around like a chicken with their head cut off. We've got it set up, it's ran like a fine-tuned watch, man. It just really is.
Oh, yeah. Last year, you were on the mic there was points of time where I had to try to catch you. We had another comment come in and said, "Hey Mickey, hey Minnie, how you doing?" So I had to acknowledge that. David, that joke went above your head, but it's all good. We won't worry about it.
Cute.
But man, there was a lot going on. I'm sitting there going through stuff. I had people coming up to me asking me questions about podcasts, and they were asking about the camera rig because we had wandered around there, checked everybody out, all the tables and stuff, because we were trying to let people that weren't there see what they were missing and to get their butt to Charlotte so they could see it.
Right. Brian Pillman Jr. is going to be there. That's probably the last appearance he'll make. He signed with NXT. There's no doubt. Probably within a year he'll go up to the main card. And then you got to go down and fight 16,000 other damn people, at a giant arena to maybe get a picture of him in the ring. So, I mean, this up close and personal thing, rewinding it back, the Q&As are the thing that I like the most. I've done a bunch of them over the years. When Greg Price did it, one of the most interesting what I ever did was in Atlanta when we did it there was Dr. D. David Schultz. The guy that slapped John Stossel was there with the other guy that exposed the business, and it was amazing. I mean, held that Q&A, talked with Dr. D out in the lobby for 3 or 4 hours until all hours of the morning, talking about his bounty hunting. But one of the most interesting I did year before last was with Eric Bischoff, and the reason I say that, I went to Eric and I said, "Man, is there anything you don't want to talk about?" He said, "Man, I am an open book. You can ask me anything." So the Q&As, these fans that come here are extremely knowledgeable of the old school wrestling and the modern day wrestling. So the Q&As, man, these guys kind of open up and talk about some stuff that, the modern day fan may not be aware of. And one of the great things that Eric talked about that blew me away, he said, "Man, you can say what you want to about WCW, that the way Turner was doing it, or AOL when they bought them, they were putting the pay-per-view money in the general fund of the parent company. So it wasn't showing up on WCW's books. So when AOL come in and bought them, of course they were broke. They were broke on paper, but they were generating, because it's 83 weeks. That's the name of his podcast. Man, they were killing it, So, I mean, in the same amount of time, hell, Vince was making money. They had to be making money.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just math. It's hard to explain business to non-business minded people. But I lit in on that, and we talked about that in the bar. And he said, "Man, nobody quite gets that. AOL, when they bought them, they just came in and looked at the damn bottom line and go, shit, we're not wrestling fans. This wrestling fan's a loser. Goodbye." And, Vince took advantage of it, and the rest is history. So, he opened up about that. And it was just incredible to listen to that and to be there up close and personal to talk about things other than what goes on in the ring.
I'm one of those people that believes if Eric Bischoff had gotten his hands on it the whole way, it'd be a whole different landscape out there today.
He said, and guys have told me that they were 60 to 90 days away from putting Vince out of business. And Vince realized that, and Vince was a risk taker. Just like with WrestleMania 3, always joke with guys. They say, on the indie circuit, I always try to tell people this: the promoter's 100% in charge because he's taking 100% of the risk. I'll bet you $1 million that none of the wrestlers volunteered to give Vince McMahon any damn money towards WrestleMania 3, but they all had their hands out. He mortgaged his house. He did everything. Okay, so he took the risk, and it paid off. So, it's just this funny business we call pro wrestling is it's you always say it's the little things that you do in the ring. Well, it was the little things that Vince did, mortgaged everything but his underwear, and he may have done that to put on that thing. And the money that Ted Turner was throwing at Vince, throwing at WCW to compete with Vince, like you said, the landscape could have been different. But you hear about all that stuff, and you talk to these guys, and off the record, hanging out in the lobby. One of the best stories, I may have shared this with you before, was last year. Baron von Reschke was there. He was
Okay.
82 years old. Still looked like the Baron. The claw. And his daughter was there. And I was sitting at the table with the lawyer vendor who brought him in. And I wished I can remember the guy's name. It's a Japanese guy. He wrestled Hulk Hogan in Madison Square Garden. Big, giant Japanese guy. And was on movies. And he had come in from Tokyo. And his daughter had never been to one of these conventions. So the escalator's right there. And we're right here. And the Japanese guy goes down and he looks up and he goes, Jim, which is Jim Reschke, Baron von Reschke's real name.
Right.
And I told his daughter, I said, he'll be back. He came back up and they hugged and all this other stuff. His daughter started crying and all this, and they were reminiscing. When he left, I asked Baron, I said, how long has it been since you've seen him? He said, 1974. That's shit you can't pay for, man. That's stuff that can't be bought. Okay. Still remembered him. Still remembered him after 48 years.
Good Lord.
Okay. So you're in the lobby of the hotel and you see something like that. That's not scripted out. That's the real thing. So, I mean, that's the thing that the gathering, AKA the Marty Party, puts together, because a lot of guys, they go into conventions, they go to their table, they sign, they get out, they do whatever, they get in the ring and they leave, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that business model. There's not. But Marty has got a business model that is second to none. I mean, he just does. It's just unimaginable. So,
are you done?
It's
a whole different level of interaction at the gathering. I'll put it that way.
Yes, very well put.
Now,
very well put. I heard you got the picture with Mickey Mouse last year.
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I didn't get the picture with Mickey Mouse. I got a picture with Barry Horowitz. I got a picture with Tori Wilson.
How did you miss Mickey Mouse?
Man, I don't know. I don't know how.
Gee, unreal. I don't know how you missed it either.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Oh boy!
But anyway. I'm glad you were there to share that with these people, because my job is to put the show over.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Tate's greatest thing since Jesus walking on water. Just like any convention, they're going to tell you, "Oh, come on out, stand in line, do whatever." But the great news is fans can still on Friday and Saturday or Sunday come up and pay $29 general admission and still get into the vendor room, because if you look at that poster, other than 24 people on there, the vendors are bringing all those people in.
Yes, that was the crazy.
There's over 100 stars going to be there. These vendors step up, man. They really do. DDP's being brought in by a vendor.
That, to me, like I said,
Devon Dudley is being brought in. That second poster that I sent you, that's Big Time Collectibles.
I've got that one right.
They're bringing all those people. They're bringing all those in themselves.
There you go.
Those are in the vendor room. Okay. Some of those brilliant minds in the business right there. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, had the greatest match in WrestleMania history, hands down, second to none. The end. Arn Anderson forgot more about wrestling. Tully Blanchard, the technician. Hustler Rip Rogers. Bobby Fulton and his brother, who was the Eagle in Japan, and the Nasty Boys. All of that right there, okay, is being brought in by a vendor. So the fans can still join us, and they can go to Marty T-Mart D'Amato, DMATO, on Facebook, and it has the whole rundown. He's got hundreds of pictures, everything. He's actually, if you dig through there, he's got the whole lineup of the photo ops, the pro photo ops. I mean, there's just so much to do. It's just wide open, man. You need, hell, if it's your vacation, I'm gonna need a vacation from this shit. I mean, I'm gonna need a vacation from my vacation. And your co-host, man's got to learn to shut up and let us talk more.
Right. Now, for everybody out there, what I did was I went ahead and posted a link from T-Mart himself, and it's DAMATO, D'Amato. But man, you've got the franchise Shane Douglas going to be there.
Just announced
2 hours ago.
Yeah.
He's going to be there with Big Time Collectibles. It is huge. The Fultons, I met them at a show I worked that Sunday. even though I saw him at the gathering, I spoke with him there as well. It is crazy the amount of people he's got coming into this. It is going to be
I'm gonna try
time.
to find Saturday night's wrestling match lineup because again he's got a lot enough. Here we go. Here's the full schedule right here. 4 to 5 is a surprise Q&A, which I'll be holding. This is Thursday night, okay? 6 to 8 p.m. our barbecue event with some of the wrestling legends. Now, of course, that's the ultimate VIP ticket. So unfortunately, you can't come down there and get in. That's sold out simply because they set out a certain amount of tables and a certain amount of food. I'm not saying that, but so that's just the way it works. 8 to 9 o'clock tomorrow night, I'll probably be hosting this one as well. A Q&A with Larry Zbyszko, probably one of the most brilliant men in the world. Larry Zbyszko told Razor Ramon to come through the crowd at WCW. No music, don't come down the ramp, none of that. That was Larry Zbyszko saying, this don't make any sense if you do this. Come through the crowd, and the rest is history. Now, how brilliant was that little tiny detail right there? Okay, so he's going to be there, and I'll bring that up on a Q&A. We got an 8:30 to 10:30 Q&A panel with Kevin Sullivan, Bob Root, Steve Kern, Jerry Briscoe, and Brian Blair. And then, of course, karaoke and getting drunk after that. And drinking in the bar. Okay.
I put money on it. I put money on this. Somebody's getting kicked out of the Kevin Sullivan Q&A. I'm going to put money on it right now. Somebody's getting kicked out of that. Guaranteed.
I mean, I'm telling you, man, they've had some hard questions before. I'm not going to bring it up. I'm really not because, it's a black eye on the business. But they even asked him about that one time. And he covered it like a professional, like you could not comprehend. I mean, he really did. He didn't get upset. He didn't raise his voice. Both of you guys know what I'm talking about. Obviously, yes. I mean, but they brought that up. A fan brought that up, and he covered it. So again, nobody got violent or anything like that. But I mean, he just covered that. Now tomorrow, day after tomorrow, 8 to 5 p.m. The vendor room's open 9 to 5. Jim Ross, good old JR, Henry Godwin, Kevin Sullivan, Ricky Steamboat, Jarrett Fulton, Savannah Evans, Mr. Hughes, the Nasty Boys, Bobby and Jackie Fulton, Judias, Greenville, okay, Austin Idol, Devon Dudley, George South, Mike Jackson, Andrew Anderson, Barry Windham, Baby Doll, Rick Link, Princess Victoria, David Crockett, Frank Dusick, Tommy Dreamer, Slick, Missy Hyatt, L.A. Smooth, Kerry Morton, Gary Royal, Rip Rogers, Cuban Assassin, Barbarian, Barbara Goodish, who is Bruiser Brody's wife, Karen McDaniel, and the Glamour Girls. That's all in the vendor room. You can come down there Friday, pay $29, and, of course, get in there and meet all those guys. Of course, autographs and pictures, are extra. And then there's photo ops or your own camera and pro camera rooms with Denny Brown and Gary Royal. I mean, it's just loaded up with stuff. But here's the one I'm excited about. Pro photo op with David Crockett and Jim Ross. The announced team from way back in the day, brother. The guys that carried the ship, so to speak. Also pro photo ops with Jim Ross and David Crockett. So, I mean, it's just an all-day thing. And then 1 to 3, here's the first super ticket. If they had a super ticket ultimate thing. So, again, for next year, this would be a lineup for you, for example. In that room, air-conditioned room, you were there, Ron.
Yes.
They'll be seated at tables. You can get two photographs with Larry Zbyszko. 2 autographs. Greg Gagne, Jim Brunzell, Brian Blair, Jerry Briscoe, Denny Brown, Bob Roop, and Steve Kern. That's day 1 of the super ticket. So, that's just that takes us up to 1 o'clock the first day.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's unreal. 4 and 5 o'clock, got a Q&A with the Rock and Roll Express, arguably the greatest tag team in history. Then the Night to Remember banquet. That's for ultimate ticket holders. They get to be at a table with a wrestler, that they choose. So, I mean, it's just unreal.
Right. Wow.
And then, Saturday rolls through, does the same thing, the photo op, the super vendors, and then pro wrestling Saturday night. I mean, that's just 2 days, and then Sunday. So I can't say enough about this thing, man. It's just unreal. And I'm just honored, humbled, and privileged to be a part of it. Because Marty, if you look it up, he's from Brooklyn, New York. He's not a local guy.
Right.
He builds this thing up all year, and he flies down from Brooklyn, New York, and handles this thing.
Dude, it's insane. Like I said, I was there last year, and it's almost like an overload. There's too much. There's so much going on.
It sounds like it'd be a little overwhelming, but I mean, it's a lot to do.
It is. I'm still working details to try to get myself to Charlotte Saturday. I'm working on details to get myself at least to Charlotte for the first half of the day.
Right.
On Saturday. I'm waiting on a couple of responses for that. But
if you think about it, it's kind of great the way that it's set up, because you have 4 days. You probably have all day to do everything, but it gives you like a couple days to kind of split it up too. Because by the end of the day, you probably not have seen everything there at the gathering.
No, if you're there, so when I was there, dude. All right, so I got there, like I say, what was it, 9:30 in the morning when I met you there last year, Bill. I was there 15, 20 minutes. You introduced me to a handful of people. Kevin Sullivan wanted his breakfast. I went and bought Kevin Sullivan his breakfast and brought it back.
Ron got worked into being a lackey in about 15 minutes by Kevin Sullivan. Imagine that.
No, I was volunteered by somebody. That's how funny. That went down. And it's no big deal. I swear to Christ, not a big deal. I was like, I didn't know anything in the area is what kind of annoyed me. Like, I'm not familiar with the restaurants nearby. So trying to find food and stuff was irritating. And then hell, me and your missus went and bought pizzas later on that day. By the time I went and got pizza, dude, for lunch, I was done. Like, I was spent. We had already gone live a couple of times. Mm-hmm. We went live right before the matches started that night. I think I got home that morning at about 3 because I was hanging out in the bar smoking cigars.
Of course you were. Why wouldn't you be?
Right. So, hanging out, talking to Gary Horn from the NWA. This is NWA podcast. I was talking to him, told him the one episode of his that sticks out in my mind is they had an interview with Thunder Rosa years ago before she got picked up by AEW. Mm-hmm. And when I saw her at the at that convention we were at in Tennessee, I mentioned it to her then, and she was like, "Oh my God, yeah, I love Gary." It was just a cool thing to get to meet other people who were doing the same or similar thing as you, as well as, you know, you're sitting there and you're having a conversation with Barry Horowitz. You're sitting there having a conversation with Vampiro. That meant a load to me right there. Being able to speak to
the Brooklyn Brawler was there. Barry Horowitz was there. Arguably, and George South, arguably the top 3 enhancement talent guys in history. Barry Horowitz told me, and Barry is very humble. I've met him several times. And, really nice. You hear this all the time, and nothing against names or whatever, but there's a certain look or whatever. Everybody that came into WWE, Vince McMahon had them wrestle Barry Horowitz first. And he didn't go to the Star and ask him how it was the match. He went to Barry Horowitz and asked him how it was the match. Right. They wrestled the Brooklyn Brawler next. Okay? And they didn't go to the Star. They went to the Brooklyn Brawler and asked him how it was. So I don't like the word jobber. I mean, there's a job done in every match because you really don't think Seth Rollins could beat Brock Lesnar's ass, do you? Really? Okay. So Brock did the job that night. So it's enhancement talent. And to talk to Barry Horowitz and the Brooklyn Brawler was like talking to a walking encyclopedia of pro wrestling. Okay. I mean, these guys got it. That's back when it's like the Rock and Roll Express. People don't get this. Today's wrestling, and there's nothing wrong with this. These guys wrestle 4 days a week with WWE. AEW has finally stepped up to 3 days a week, and I couldn't be happier on one level simply because of the plethora of injuries was because the guys you can't perform at that level wrestling 4 or 5 times a month. You can't. You can't. I tell people this all the time. Tiger Woods, the greatest golfer in history, if he showed up on Sunday to play in the final round, he would finish last. Okay, but he practiced on Monday, Tuesday. He played golf on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So to talk to those guys and to hear what they did, you know, for these guys now are making millions and millions of dollars wrestling 4 or 5 times a month, which hell, they call my dumb old ass to come down there and announce. I'd take that money too. Okay, so I mean, I'm not blaming the boys. Yeah. I'm not. But to talk to those guys who have had 5 and 6 and 7,000 matches. Okay. And there's a guy on AEW, and I'm not going to mention his names, but his initials John Moxley. Okay. He in however long he's been there, he's wrestled a little over 100 times in 4 years.
He wrestled over 100 times in 1 year when he was on the indie circuit.
Exactly. Well, and when he was with Vince, he did that. So I mean, I get it. Less dates, more money. I get that. I understand that 100%. But you know,
philosophy.
That's why these older guys were sharper. Right. Okay. And probably the hottest thing going right now, and people can talk all the shit they want to, is the Roman Reigns 11-month angle. Lost art. Okay.
I was having a conversation with somebody about this the other day because he doesn't really watch wrestling. He's a very good friend of mine, but he doesn't really watch wrestling. He knows I'm involved. He likes coming every now and then, but he said, "Hey man, I see this story. What is this tribal court happening on Friday night?" Because it was advertised on his TV. I said, "Let me explain something to you." I said, if you took and clipped every segment that involved the bloodline, not including the matches, just the talking segments and even some of the blowout fights that happened because of that, it's almost a 2-hour plus movie. He said, wait, what? I was like, if you piece it all together, it's over 2 hours of content, just dialogue.
Right.
It's insane that that's how this works. And it's working better than anything else. It's probably the hottest storyline Vince has had since in the Attitude Era, if not be it for them.
Right. I'm gonna ask your co-host this question because I've asked you this before, Ron. Why do you think that they have that belt on Roman Reigns? Why do you think they have that 11-month angle on Roman Reigns?
That's a good question. That's a very good question.
I know the answer, and it'll floor you, but it's simple. What do you think? What's the name of the family? What's the angle? The bloodline.
Bloodline. All right. Yeah.
65 years of dedication to the McMahon family, going back with Maivia, okay? Going back to the Wild Samoans, going back to Rocky Johnson, going back to The Rock. None of them ever took their ball and went nowhere else.
That's true.
Nowhere. Okay? You know why Roman Reigns is over? Okay? 65 years they've been dedicated to that company. That's why they call it the bloodline. Okay? Who the hell else are they going to trust that to? It's a cutthroat business from top to bottom. Guys are jumping over to AEW. Guys jumped to WCW. Fucking Hulk Hogan left. Okay? Left WWE. The greatest draw in history. Left. Okay? I'll guarantee you. I'll bet you $1 million right now. If Vince asked him, Dwayne Johnson would come back and lay down in the middle of that damn ring and take that count clean and put Roman over and pass that torch if Vince asked him. Hulk Hogan wouldn't do that horse shit back in the day.
I could see that happening. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you see what I'm saying? Yeah. 65 years of being committed to that one family. That whole family raised generations of wrestlers from McMahon money and money they drew to him. That's why Roman's got that damn belt. Okay, and he's only third in line right now. Hulk Hogan kept the damn thing for 1,479 days. But see, this new generation want to bitch, moan, and complain that he's had it too long. Well, that's because you got the attention span of a damn gnat. You know, you want him to turn heel in the first match, turn baby in the last match, and do the damn blow off before they go off television.
It's the TikTok generation. That's that 90-second
clip. The headline and soundbite generation. That's exactly right.
Yep, that's all they have. They have.
What do you think? What do you think, brother? Did you think that was the answer?
No, I thought we were going to go somewhere another angle with that, but no, you're absolutely right. That it makes total sense. Why?
Well, it is. That's all that makes sense.
That lineage carries a momentous amount of weight, and it also helps that Roman Reigns is extremely marketable.
Oh, he's on a whole new level. He's on a whole level. If you watch
he's God
the
mode.
promos, could I tell everybody this? At that level, everybody can wrestle. Everybody can wrestle. If you watch his facial expressions, okay, when he's doing a promo, when he's selling for these guys, and he's passing that on to the Usos because all they got to do, and I don't know what the damn angle's going to be up, but all they got to do is put it on Jay or the other boy, and the same shit starts all over again. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You know what Jim Cornette told me? When they changed an angle, when the fucking crowd dropped. Okay. He said he used to do an angle. Buildings are sold out. We ain't changing nothing.
Right.
Okay. Why would they change shit?
Why make the writers work harder?
True.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. It's the greatest angle, in my opinion, in the wrestling business since the first part of the NWO and the takeover. And they diluted that into damn ground. So I think that's I think that's the greatest angle going. So I mean, when you talk to the minds like we're going to have at the gathering, like Larry Zbyszko, he would get that. Larry Zbyszko would know that answer. Okay, Ricky Morton would know that answer.
Man, Ricky's so down to earth, man. I love talking to Ricky. Hey, while you're there, you a coffee drinker? You got to get some of Ricky's coffee.
Ricky has coffee?
Ricky makes a coffee.
Yeah.
Well, George South makes a water.
That's funny.
George South, hey, don't laugh at that, man. You guys are two members. Remember Jimmy Carter, the president?
No, but yes, I know who he is.
Jimmy Carter, the president of the United States in 1976. Y'all don't remember who a former president was? His brother was Billy Carter. His brother was Billy Carter, a drunk. He invented his own beer. An unopened case of Billy beer right now is worth $10,000. So George South water is going to be valuable one day. I'm calling that spot.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't know because I wouldn't know who he is because I wasn't around.
Bill Hazelwood wine's not going to be real popular because I drink it all.
Nothing wrong with that. No, I am so glad that David did the research and found out we won't be banned on one of the social media platforms for drinking on air.
We're good. As long as we're not a hazard to ourselves or others, we're good. We're fine.
Yeah.
What?
Okay.
You can't drink on anti-social media? What the hell?
That was a thing at one point that we were told.
Yeah.
Here, let me get banned right away. Here we go. Ready?
Yeah. Right.
It's Kool-Aid. It's Kool-Aid, fact checkers.
Grape. It's grape Kool-Aid.
It's grape.
In the wrestling business, we call it, I'm drinking my own Kool-Aid. Okay.
Yes. There you go. Hey, you got to be your biggest fan in this business.
It got dark and the spotlight came on. Look at there. Is Bill Hazelwood great or what? The god of professional wrestling. Let there be light. And there it was. Okay.
Right.
But anyway, back to the gathering, man. You can't come down to do $29, but you guys need to prepare for next year if you're listening to this because it's unreal. It's just surreal, man.
Well, you have stuff already coming up this weekend. What's one big thing that you're excited for this weekend regarding the gathering?
I'm excited for all of it because of the variety of the show, variety of the convention. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm not picking on anybody, but there's Bubba Fest in Tennessee. 3 days. That's just a convention. People going in and going to the tables and getting whatever. There's something different about it. The exciting thing I like is the matches on Saturday night. Okay. And this beautiful ballroom downstairs where it's air conditioned and, you never know what's going to happen as far as that goes. But, Kurt Angle's going to be there. I mean, not damn. Well, I mean, Jesus Christ, man. you got Kurt Angle headlining this thing.
You brought up Seth Rollins. Do you really think Seth Rollins could beat Brock Lesnar's ass? I think there is 3 people legitimately who were in the WWE who could have given Brock a run for his money. And that is Kurt Angle, Ken Shamrock, and Shelton Benjamin. That's it. Anybody else? I don't know.
Now I'll share this with you. Now, the only fair fight's in a ring with a referee.
Right.
Okay. Now, wrestling wise, I was very fortunate. We had Shelton Benjamin at the Mid-Atlantic Wrestling Fest when Greg Price hosted it, and he rode in the car with me for 6 hours, 3 hours to Orangeburg, 3 hours back. And we talked constantly, and he verified the story, that you hear about with Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar, doing a little
on the plane
shoot thing or whatever. Not on the plane, but in the ring before Madison Square Garden show. And he put it in his perspective. He said, I asked him one thing. I said, is Brock as strong as people say? Because in the heyday, Brock walked around at 310.
Right.
Okay. Shelton Benjamin, who taught Brock how to work in pro wrestling, went to college with Brock. And
yes.
Shelton finished 3rd in the NCAA. Brock won it. So, he said, you got to understand. He said, I was here. He said, Brock was there. He said, but Kurt Angle was here. He said, Kurt Angle's the greatest wrestler in the world. But in a real fight, ain't nobody whipping Brock's ass. Not in the wrestling business. Now, somebody in the UFC might, but in a real fight, you're not whipping a 310-pound man's ass with that kind of skill. You're just not. I'd have to run over him with my car before I shot him. Okay. So now in a wrestling match, okay, in a catch-can style or Greco-Roman style or whatever, they could all probably hold their own, and certainly Kurt Angle could probably come the closest. But Brock outweighed Kurt by 100 pounds. That's why there's weight divisions. Okay.
Right.
But Haku could have whipped Brock's ass. Maybe. Okay. Andre the Giant could have certainly whipped his ass because Andre outweighed him by 200 pounds. True. Okay. If you don't think Andre the Giant was strong, strap 2 of your fucking neighbors to your back and walk to the mailbox and back tomorrow. And that's how much Andre the Giant weighed. So he carried around 500 pounds. So maybe those 2, maybe. But wrestling, I mean, it depends on what type of battle it is. If it's fair, yes. If it's unfair, ain't nobody whipping Brock Lesnar's ass. I mean, he's just not. I mean,
man,
certainly not me.
No,
I'm a live coward, not a damn dead hero.
I like that one. So
let me ask you, Ron, you got tickets to AEW Saturday night? Asking for a friend?
No, I do not.
You do not. You know why? No. There's 2 reasons I don't have tickets to AEW on Saturday night. First of all, I'm going to be at the gathering, and second of all, it's on TV for free.
I'm working Saturday night at a wrestling show, so I have no interest in being anywhere else.
Well, I mean, and again, I'm not burying local promoters, but let me bury local promoters. These guys will bitch, moan, and complain that a local guy down the street is running a show and putting 150 people in the stands and ruining their town, or taking over their town. AEW or WWE will come to town and take $1 million, and they'll be in the fucking stands giving them some of their money. Okay, the promoter. So I mean,
yeah,
that's why they call me an asshole. So
I'm sure there's going to be several people we know there, but it won't be me. I'm going to be at a show that's actually a fundraiser. I'm actually working a charity event. It's for the kids. They're
Put it over, man. Is that what your show?
Oh, I know. We're talking about that show tomorrow night.
Yeah,
because we're doing Thursday night. This is just a special just for Bill Hazelwood to come on and talk about the gathering. Now, if Marty wanted to come on and wanted to say some things, I have zero problem with Marty coming on talking. But I know he's
getting things together. He got there yesterday. And that's the thing. People think you just fly in, throw a bunch of pictures and shit on the floor, and throw up a ring, and poof, there's the convention. The Hilton does a great job of accommodating us. Don't get me wrong, but this shit is hardcore, man. Marty will be there a couple of days after the gathering, picking up the pieces and all that stuff. So I mean, it's unreal. But one of the cool things, I don't know if I told you, that he's got what's called the Gathering Turnbuckle.
Yes.
That you can buy now. Of course, they're sold out already. But again, next year, If you can't come, it's $250, and he'll get all the 24 superstars to sign it for you. That's $10. That's $10 an autograph. You're not going to an independent show with one of these names and getting somebody to sign some shit for $10. You're just not.
No.
That's not happening. That's not happening. You mail it in, you pay the shipping, you mail in the pictures. Again, you know, if you go to the website or go to his Facebook page and look at that, I mean, he's got something. If you can't be there, you know, you can do mail-ins again next year, the Gathering 5, I'm sure. Cause it seems to get better and bigger every year.
Yes.
Because he's tweaking it, and you know, and whatever, and he just got it right. And it's just the best fan experience. And WrestleCon is phenomenal. Again, don't get me wrong. You know, that's unreal. I've attended that. That's along with WrestleMania. But you just don't have the access unless you happen to run into the Miz while he's pissing in the bathroom that you have with these guys at the Gathering. Again, this is a 4-day party. Last year, Marty and his family dressed up as the superstars of the past. Marty was Brother Love. I mean, the fans dressed up. We had a costume contest. It was unreal. I mean, it's just unexplainable. I mean, it just really, really is. I mean, I can put it over and put it over and put it over, and I'm good at putting shit over. But if you're not there, you just don't get it, because people will show up and go, wow, this is unreal. I must not pay the electric bill. My spotlight went back out. I think it's motion activated. Hey, there we go. All right, there, I'm back now.
Look at that.
So, I mean, you know,
I mean, it works. The screen's illuminating you. It's good.
Yeah.
But
I get paid to hear. You get paid to hear my voice, not to see my ugly mug, anyways.
you know, but they get to see your mug when you're in the ring. And
So-
most of them.
Well,
walk
and I'm
around
very
and talk to you
honored.
anyway.
One of the cool things I did 2 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, maybe it was last year. Hell, I can't remember. We have so much stuff going on. 2 years ago, we had Nick Aldis wrestle Trevor Murdoch at the Gathering. Was the main event.
2 years ago.
And they both cut promos. I interviewed both of them, and Trevor Murdoch probably laid down the best promo, heartfelt promo about this was before he won the title, talking about, you know, if he didn't beat Nick Aldis at whatever it was, NWA 73, that he would retire. So I mean, that again, that's things, you know, I get paid handsomely to do that, but that's things you can't buy. I mean, to be able to do that, because I'm a huge fan, man. I've been a wrestling fan for 50 years. I'm 61. I've been a wrestling fan since 1972. The original Sheik's organization out of Detroit, Cobo Hall, the Sheik, Bobo Brazil, Fanfiro Furpo, the Stomper, Wild Bill Curry. Somebody walked behind me. Oh, that's my wife walked behind me. Okay,
Yeah.
trying to steal my spotlight.
No,
But
so,
you know, to be there as a personality is great for me, but also to be there as a fan. You know, because I have probably more access to these guys than anybody, but the fans at the Marty party have as much access, because guys have told me, man, I've been to convention shit. We've never been this close to wrestling. They'll sit there and have a drink with you, especially if you're buying, they'll have 10 with you. So, I mean, in the bar at the Hilton, I mean, that's
true, yeah.
that's the trick, man. You know,
Man,
I'll tell you a great story. Now, wasn't at the Gathering. Okay. But this was at the Mid-Atlantic Fan Fest when it was at the Hilton, hosted by Greg Price. This is something that, again, can't be bought. We had the original 4 horsemen there to take pictures. There were over $100,000 worth of pictures sold. Ric Flair, Ole Anderson, Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson, J.J. Dillon, the original 5. That night, I was at the bar in the Hilton. Ric Flair was over in the corner drinking Pinot Grigio. That's what he drinks. No, Pinot. I'm sorry, red wine. Lady leaned over and she said, "You look kind of normal. What's up with all these blonde-headed, muscle-bound guys?" And I looked at her like she was fucking Mars. I said, "Are you not a wrestling fan?" She said, "No, I work for Bank of America."
oh my
I said,
Lord.
"What the hell are you doing here?" She said, "That's just where they put me up." She said, "I'm from Minnesota." I said, "Well, it's a wrestling convention." I said, "Really?" She said, "Really?" She said, "My son is a really big fan of wrestling." I said, "Well, text him. Can you get him on the phone?" So she texted him. I said, "Ask him who his favorite wrestler is." So she immediately texted back that, you know, that it was Ric Flair. I took her chair and turned her around. I said, that's him sitting right over there. She said, no way.
Wow.
So I walked over to him, and I'd known him for a number of years, and I whispered in his ear. And I said, hey, champ, I said, you see the lady at the bar? She's not a wrestling fan. She's here from Bank of America interviewing for a job. I said, but her son is a huge wrestling fan from Minnesota. And I said, can she get a picture with you? He said, sure, man, just for you. And he walked over there and posed with that lady, and she sent it to her son. Again, that's stuff you can't buy.
Man.
Okay? That's stuff you can't buy. That's shit that because I'm telling you the truth, man. I've probably taken a dozen pictures in 22 years with people. Never paid for a picture in my life, never going to. But the memories that I share, obviously the fans share too. You take to your grave. I mean, it's just arguably the greatest wrestler in history. That day posed with fans over and over and over and was paid handsomely to be there. But to do something like that for free for a lady that he didn't know, okay?
Didn't even know who he was.
For an announcer that he barely knows, regardless of fucking how many times I've announced him, okay? For a little kid that he never met. So that's stuff that the gathering, and again, that's just a spinoff. Marty has done a world-class job of picking up and making it even better where Greg Price left off. Because again, Greg did it for a number of years and knocked it out of the park, but Marty just taking it to a whole new level. And again, I'm humbled, honored, and privileged to be able to hang out with these guys and to help these fans get the ultimate fan experience. I call it the ultimate fan experience in wrestling conventions. Your co-host needs to shut the fuck up so we can talk some more.
I was trying to say, let me go through some
what do you say on your podcast, man? When you have a podcast, you just act like this?
No, I was going to go into. Let me go through a list of the guests here, like you said earlier.
Go ahead. I'll shut up for 30 seconds. I got a drink. Go ahead.
David Crockett's coming. The Doctor of Style Slick is coming. Of course, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat's going to be there. Jimmy Valiant is going to be there. Let's see here. The Grappler Len Denton is going to be there. Gail Kim. The Mulkey Brothers, Chainsaw Tony's gonna be there. The Glamour Girls, Wild Bill Irwin's gonna be there. And the list keeps going. The Killer Bees are gonna be there. The Bushwhackers are gonna be there. L.A. Smooth, Midnight Express, Barry Windman's gonna be there. The Godwin Twins, Arn Anderson. It's crazy, and the list keeps going. Like that's just a taste. That's gonna be there.
Now, unfortunately, not to interrupt you, but unfortunately, Jerry the King Lawler, he had a stroke several months ago.
Yeah.
He's not going to be able to attend. And very unfortunately, J.J. Dillon's doctor has not cleared him to travel.
This is true.
Okay. So, I mean, you just got to understand, hell, I'm 61. And the joke is I used to watch these guys when I was a kid, but the truth was, fuck, they was kids too, because JJ's only 10 years older than me. So, but
is there, do you know about any of
that? To that point.
Go ahead.
And this is not a morbid way to say things anyway. But over the years between the Mid-Atlantic Fan Fest and the Gathering, okay, Skandar Akbar, one of the greatest heels of all times. Okay, I was very blessed back in the day to go up that elevator and knock on the door, and him and Kamala came down and did a thing. And we were talking, and he always told God, because I always heard he was good with his money. Okay. He said, man, you never make too little to save a little. He said, me and then whatever Kamala's real name was, I can't remember now, that we've done over 5,000 matches. Skandar Akbar unfortunately passed away 3 weeks after that. He had stage 4 cancer. And he cut a promo on at the commentary table. And I tell people that for those 30 seconds, he wasn't sick. He was Skandar Akbar. Okay. And I was very blessed back in the day. We had wrestling number 2. He lived in Hawaii. 5-hour time difference. Greg had told me, he said, hey, go get Mr. Wrestling number 2 and tell him it's time for his Q&A. And I looked around. I said, where the hell is he at? He had on a little baseball cap and glasses. I walked over. I said, no shit. He don't look like 2. He was in his late 70s. Okay. I reached over and I whispered in his ear. I said, Mr. Walker, I said, it's time for your Q&A. He said, okay, no problem. We were walking down the hall and we had a little conversation. He said, hey, let me go in the bathroom and get my gimmick. And he put on that mask and there was wrestling number 2. There he was. And he told me, he said, this mask got me another 25 years. Okay. And then he passed away. So a lot of the legends are on, you know, they're in their 70s and 80s. I mean, it's, you know, I tell people death is part of life. And to see guys that you grew up with, and, you know, a lot of the fans that come to the gathering are my age. They're in the late 50s, early 60s. Some of them's older. And I had a young man. This was unreal because Roddy Piper, we had him in Atlanta, did a world-class job for us for 3 days. And what he said one time was volumes. He said, people, you know, the promo that he cut on Jericho is probably the fucking greatest promo ever, you know, that people came to see me, man. My grandpa brought me to watch you wrestle Adrian Adonis. And he talked about that. So these guys will come up to me, some of these hardcore wrestling fans, and they got a milk crate with pictures and a wrestling book, and they've got markers in them and shit. And they'll open that page and they'll go, hey man, where is this guy? Could I need a picture of him at this show that my granddaddy took me to? You know, it means everything to them. Don't mean shit to me. Don't mean anything to you. Don't mean anything to the wrestling fan. Okay. But they remember it. So that's the things that in my old age and my ultimate wisdom at 61 years old, 3 years post-heart attack, okay, nearly damn dying, that I latch onto at these conventions now. I have a whole different perspective of these fans because everybody there can tell you a story. Ron, you can tell a story. You can tell a story where you was at wrestling. My first live wrestling show, I know where it was. February the 15th, 1980. Bluefield Memorial Auditorium. Main event was Ric Flair and Greg the Hammer Valentine for the U.S. title. And I'm going to tell people this. All right, you ready? You guys ready? Hold on, I need a drink. They say everybody's seen Ric Flair's dick. I've seen it. Okay, because I snuck into the dressing room after the match and shook his hand. He was naked as a damn jaybird. Okay, but full circle, I think it was 6 or 8 years ago, I went up there with Big Time Wrestling. Okay, I went up there with Big Time Wrestling and announced in the Bluefield Memorial Auditorium the place that I saw my first wrestling match. And Mick Foley was on the card. The Rock and Roll Express was on the card. George South was on the card. And the stories that I heard about that locker room and the rats that they had back in the days, I'd have worked that show for free. Okay.
Good Lord.
So that's me in my old age and the thing. So I can certainly relate to the fans and what they're not there to see some 65 or 75 or 80-year-old wrestler and shit. They're there to remember their dad taking them someplace, or their granddaddy taking them someplace, or their grandmother having a brick in their purse, hitting a guy. Okay. The lost art of drawing heat, the lost art of when the shit was not real, but they made you believe it was real. Right. That's the key. That's the key that the gathering does. And to see somebody that would probably never thought that when they was a kid to sit down and get a picture with their granddaddy's favorite wrestler, just it's just you can't pay enough for that.
Do you remember, Dave, and you might remember this? Do you guys remember the Showplace Arena right outside of DC in PG County?
You motherfuckers, Yankees. Oh, I'm sorry. I grew up north too. I'm just fucking with you. Okay.
Yeah. But do you remember the Showplace Arena?
I'm on a show with 2 communists. This is not good. I got to leave now.
No, but either way, that was the building that I saw my first wrestling show in, was the Showplace Arena. It was a WWE house show.
Right. What date was it? I bet you know the date.
I've got the ticket in the other room on my
there you
wall.
Go. Absolutely. Wow. Isn't that amazing? Who was on the card?
Oh hell. Cena might have made an appearance.
How long ago was that?
Oh shit! This was 2012, maybe.
Okay, 11 years ago.
No,
All right, 11 years ago.
2012, yeah.
Where'd you park your car at work last week? You fucking can't remember, but you
No,
remember that.
I parked
But
in
you
the
remember,
same spot every
but you
day.
remember that. Okay, you see
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Right,
Okay, that's putting it in total perspective. You remember that.
right.
You know, that's what these conventions have become for me, and to watch these guys, because I've always been a people watcher. When I go to the ring, I try to tell guys I'm probably do a seminar in the next year about, you know, how everybody needs to be in character, you know, to suspend the crowd's belief, make it, you know, believe real.
Hey,
And
man, look, I want to book that seminar because I want you, Jake Manning, and a couple other people that need to be heard, so that fuckers realize how
Jake
valuable they
Manning,
are.
the greatest independent worker, enhancement talent on the indie scene in the fucking world today. Jake's tent can work better than 90% of the fucking people out there because of Jake, and Jake's tent is over better than 90% of the motherfuckers out there. I said it. If you don't like me, I don't give a shit. Jake Manning is the deal, buddy, the real deal.
He's a smart cat.
That got 2 million views. Get back with me, indie guys, with one of your chicken shit things gets 2 million views.
I thought it was 7 million.
Wait, maybe. Hell, 2 million on one platform.
I think it was 7 at the latest check.
Damn. The most any of mine's got 1.2. That's not cool. Shit, I'm a nobody.
Don't feel bad.
It's all, and like I agree with you. It's all about those moments, those magical moments.
Yes.
And that's why I go to conventions too, just to kind of relive those moments, relive those childhood, you know, dreams and matches. I remember the Monday Night Wars, like going to school at that time, and some of my friends would watch WCW, and I'd be watching Raw. You know, I'd be going back and forth, kind of arguing who'd be better, who'd be, you know, go over in a match, and you know, and then getting in trouble because during school during lunch hours, I would go and wrestle my friends.
And how long's that been?
Whew, years. Oh my god.
Okay. 10 years or more.
2003.
No, yeah, I was in high school. Yeah, probably 2000, probably a little bit. Yeah.
All right, say it was in 2000. Okay, it's 23 years ago. You remember all that shit? I bet you don't know. I bet you won't remember the grade you got in third period.
Nope.
You see what I'm saying? But you'll remember the Monday Night Wars. You see what I'm saying? I mean, and the older that I get, and you guys are children. I mean, I got children older than y'all. I do, honest to God. I'm a great grandfather. So, you know, that's the thing I look at. People say, why do you keep doing this stuff? You know, they pay me real well, don't get me wrong, but also to see that and to look at it at a different lens of these young people are having. We did a thing again back when Greg was doing it. NBC was there, and I compared the fact that pretend you're a Yankees fan and Derek Jeter was right here and Sting was right over my shoulder. He was signing autographs and all that other stuff. And what it was is a girl was afraid of him. He said, I'm not going to bite you. Just shake my hand. And she went to shake his hand. He went like he was going to bite her. You know, that scared the shit out of her. That made NBC News. So to be part of that can't be bought. It just can't. I mean, the fans have a blast. And Marty has got this shit down to a science. He really does. There's a convention everywhere, every week now. And the more money these guys can make, the more power to them. But the Marty Party, a.k.a. the Gathering, is for the bang for the buck. You get more up-close experience with these wrestlers than you get anywhere else. I've talked to fans that went to other conventions. And they go, hey, man, I got my picture, and hell, they rushed me in like I was a piece of cattle or whatever and all that other shit and took my $30 or $40 and fuck it, get out of here. So, you know, but when it's there, the only thing Marty doesn't put up with, and I do want to put this disclaimer up, is he pays a fortune for this. This costs a lot of money to put this on. He does not put up with the hustlers coming in that's going to sell shit on eBay or whatever, approaching the talent outside of the vendor room or outside of the
hotel
VIP room to get autographs and shit like that. We had to throw, and we've been very fortunate. We had to throw one guy out in the last 4 years. And to be honest with you, we let him come back. We did. I mean, we let him come back. I mean, we just did. We wouldn't ban him for life, and it's not like 3 strikes and out shit. But that's the only thing that Marty don't put up with. That's zero tolerance for that.
Yeah,
so
good.
Other than that, you don't even know he's in the building.
There were people hanging out outside, waiting for people to walk in and out underneath that gable or whatever that atrium, the entryway,
right? Going into the Hilton, right?
Yes. There was a couple people out there, so I walked out with my gear because you know me, I had duffel bag and laptop bag and all my shit. And there's people asking me questions. I'm like, dude, the people you want to talk to is inside. I don't know what you're asking me for.
Right. Magic's free lessons are extra. I mean, do I come to your job and ask for free shit?
Right.
I mean, it really is.
Now,
what the comedian say? Hell, it's after 9 o'clock, so ain't no kids watching. The guy was playing to get there on stage the other night, and these thin skinners, and the guy was getting heckled. And he said, "Hey, man," he said, "I don't come to your work and slap the dick out of your mouth." So
good Lord, yeah, I saw that. I saw that actually.
That's the greatest. I said, "Shit, we need to get this guy a microphone, maybe make a living on national television." But yeah, that's the only thing Marty doesn't put up with, and you can't blame him. Because again, this is a 6-figure risk. I mean, he brings these guys in, these 24 superstars. He flies them in, puts them up to Hilton, guarantees them money, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's zero tolerance for that. But other than that, it's the greatest fan experience that I personally have been involved with. And you'll never hear me say this on any other meet and greet or show or anything that I'm involved with ever. I mean, it just really is. It just buries any other thing because it's so different. It's so fan accessible. Like you were talking about, both of you guys shared stories of, you were where your arena was. You went to school on the Monday Night Wars. To me, watching these people and watching them interact, and the wrestlers light up. They really do because these guys share stories. Back in the day, they wrestled 7, 8, 9 times a day. They didn't know what town they were in, but to do those Q&As and the fans remind them and they're able to slow down and rewind and take that. And I can spot it when one of the wrestlers remember what the fan brought up. I mean, it's really, really a cool experience. I mean, the gathering is it. That's why we call it that. It's just the gathering, and it's evolved, like I said, into the Marty party. Because Marty gets involved, buddy.
So I hear. Let's go through some of the matches. If I have some here from the post.
Yes.
One of the big ones that I'm excited for. It's an ECW Classic. You have Tommy Dreamer against C.W. Anderson on Saturday night.
The EC original against the ECW original against the ECW original. That's the way that match will be announced. Okay, you got C.W. Anderson, who's an ECW original, but Tommy Dreamer is the ECW original. That is going to be a wrestling clinic for the young guys of shit you don't have to do to get over. Period. Right. Go ahead.
Let's see what else we got here going on. Oh, this is going to be a great one. The Cannibal Savannah Evans versus Miss Samantha Starr. That's going to be a great match.
Will not be a Divas match. This will not. This will be 2 bad-ass women. Okay. Savannah Evans is what now? TNA, Impact, whatever that, Impact, right? Yeah. Knocking it out of the damn park. I remember when she started, she had the look, just tough as nails. And personally, I think she's smoking hot. I really do. Okay. Versus Samantha Starr, which I'll tell Dustin, her husband, too. She's smoking hot, too. Okay. These women, I'm going to tell you, they might steal the show. They might. They really might.
I think that might be the sleeper hit of the night because those two are going to go at it, and it's going to be brutal. Let's see. Next matchup, we have NWA Junior Heavyweight Champ Kerry Morton going one-on-one against Brian Pillman Jr.
Brother.
Man.
Is that going to be something or is that going to be something? Let me tell you a Kerry Morton story. This is how long my dumb ass has been in this wrestling business. This was eons ago. Okay. You got Bobby Fulton. Okay. Which he's going to be there and his son's going to be there. And you got Ricky Morton and Kerry Morton. We were at a show. Hell, I can't even remember where was that, but we had midgets on the show. Okay. So Kerry was in the dressing room and Dylan Hines was in the dressing room. They were 6 or 7 years old apiece. It's as funny as shit. So I walked up to him and I said, "Hey man, what y'all doing?" "Oh God, we got our wrestling figures and stuff." I said, "There's going to be midgets tonight." They lit up like a glowworm. They really did. So the cool thing was, I was went out in the parking lot like 5 minutes later, and what was so funny is this damn giant SUV pulled up. And this little midget, about 3 feet tall, got out. He climbed down and shit. It was like a movie. And I walked up and I said, "What in the hell?" He had the big extenders, where he could drive and all that stuff. He said, "Man, this gets over, man." So we go in the dressing room, and you know how guys go around and they shake each other's hands. And Kerry run up to him and goes, "Hey man, are you the midget? Hey man, are you the midget?"
Oh man.
And Bobby and Kerry went, "No, no, 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 no. They're little people." And the midget covered it, man. He said, "No, it's all good, man." He said, "Yeah, man, I'm the midget." That's something, again, you can't buy.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So Kerry Morton, brother, he's got the looks like a damn model. I mean, and Jesus Christ, 3rd generation. Ricky Morton's dad was a referee.
Yep.
So I saw him at Big Time Wrestling probably 10 or 12 years ago when he was still very young, rolling in the ring and not making any noise. Guys, when you roll, it's how light you are in the business, how light you can work. He did a rollover and made no noise, and that was from his dad. So again, Kerry Morton, is it, and Brian Pillman Jr. is off the chart.
Oh, 100%. Brian Pillman Jr., I think, will go further in this business than his father did.
Go ahead, man. Didn't mean to interrupt you, but I interrupted.
No, not at all. I'm liking the backstory here. Then we got, and I'm going to put it up this time. So the fans.
I got a damn backstory with everybody, man.
Man, this is going to be exciting. The Headbangers versus the Midnight Express. I mean, wow.
Man, is that a contradiction in damn style or what?
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you a little secret. The veterans will make them Headbangers look like $1 million. They really will. There is no ego with Ricky and Robert. Robert Gibson and Ricky Morton. There is no ego. They get it.
Correct you.
Period.
Yeah, no, I was going to wait.
Get it. Yeah.
Rock and Roll Express versus the Headbangers. That's going to be an amazing matchup.
Right.
The tour continues because that, like you said, they're going to do.
I probably announced them more than I've announced everybody. I'll bet you I've announced them 700 or 800 times.
That's going to be a crazy matchup.
Hell, I can call spots in their match.
I've had the pleasure to announce for Ricky one time, and man, Ricky and
how many times?
Once. I've done it once, and that was fantastic.
Get back with me when you get to 3 figures. You'll be all right. Ron is striving to be Bill Hazelwood one day. It's okay.
He's trying.
Ron does a great job, man. Ron does a great job, regardless.
That's a big compliment coming from Bill Hazelwood there, Ron.
Absolutely. Well, I'm gonna tell you what Ron does that's better than anybody is he listens. He's dumb enough to listen and smart enough to follow through. I've been in sales for 42 years. Dumb enough to listen, but smart enough to follow through. And Ron's 5'0" and 100 but see, he takes that voice and he becomes commanding. We did a little show. He'll remember it. Whatever the hell it was. Where was that? Packlet, Ron?
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah, we did color commentary. We did color commentary. Then we did a little announcing thing back and forth, and just had a great time. And Ron gets it, man. He really does. I think for the little bit of time that he's got in there, you got to put some polish on him. But shit, whatever, no big thing. He listens to me and shit. He might be half as good as me one day. But
I took a lot of information from you early on, if you'll remember.
Right,
correctly.
You did. We did that
my first
Broom
2 shows.
High School. Remember that when I was the heel? I came out. I threw a broom on the floor and I said, "Damn, y'all really didn't try hard when y'all named this school, did you? Broom? Come on, is that the last thing you did before you cleaned this hellhole up and opened the doors?" So, but Ron does a good job, man. He really does. So
Bill was the announcer for a show that picked me up. He was their announcer at one point, and then I became their announcer. I don't know what how any of that went down. But anyway, Bill was
Stole my
there.
spot, you bastard! Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
See, that's what a thin-skinned guy in the wrestling business would do. You know,
no, I got a phone call asking me. I didn't inquire about shit. You can hang that.
Hold on, Ron. You took a spot of mine. My give a shit pocket is empty. Good for you. I can't announce every show and don't want to.
Right. So
there's so many shows. I mean, how
Bill would meet me when I would walk back in through Gorilla. Mm-hmm. There's Rage Davidson and Bill Hazelwood, and both of them are like, it's time to sit under the learning tree. And for 2 shows in a row, that was how I learned in the beginning. Then over time, you know, Bill would call me, I'd call Bill. It just went back and forth, but I'm always asking questions. Because if you've had an announcer that's been in this shit for 21 years, done it all around the country.
Announced them all from Ric Flair on down.
Who else you want to talk to? Who else do you want to ask for advice?
But according to the guys that don't take my advice, I'm a fucking know-it-all. Well, guess what? I am, okay? Because I've watched shit that works and I've watched shit that's not. That's all it is. It's that simple. I've observed. That's all it is. I mean, I've just watched and go, that shit don't work. Maybe I need to tell guys, don't do that shit because it don't work. Or I should tell guys, hey, that shit works. Why don't you do it a little more?
Well, I mean, as young guys in the business, you know.
Well, you know, and I've shared this story. I've shared this story with Ron before. When I go out to the ring, I walk. If you notice, Ron, I walk all the way around the ring, talking shit on the mic. You know, when you get out of prison, you know, messing with the marks and shit. Guys don't get that. Guys early on who've been in the business early think Bill's trying to take the spotlight. Bill is spotting the hot marks. Bill is spotting, for lack of a better word, comparison, the proverbial little old lady that's got the brick in her purse. You see what I'm saying? I went to the back and told guys, hey, man, the right side of the ring is hot, and they look like my fucking head is on backwards. Okay? They haven't got a clue. So, you know, we're all a team. You know, I was ringing the bell one night, and the guy come to me and said, damn, man, you're selling the bell. I said, I'm supposed to sell the damn bell. You know, I've got the hammer because you're counting to 2. What the hell am I supposed to do? You're supposed to look at me and go like this. So, you know, guys that get it, and guys that don't. And Ron gets it. You know, he listens, he learns, he evolves, okay? Because I sucked when I got in the wrestling business. I used to tell people I didn't get in the wrestling business until I was 40. Okay, I'm going on 62, but I was a wrestling fan since I was 10. So to put that in perspective, I've got the WWE video game. I've watched this shit. I've been to a lot of matches. I've done this. I've set up the ring. I've done all that shit. I paid my dues. That's bullshit. Because when I got in the wrestling business, all the shit I thought I knew about the wrestling business, I didn't know shit about the wrestling business. I didn't. I watched it for 30 years, but I didn't know shit about the wrestling business. So that's the thing. I just try to share with guys what I've seen work and what I've seen haven't worked. And what I've seen work is what's some of the greatest stars in the world. And you know what always works? The simple shit. The simple shit. Sell an armbar like in an electric chair. I heard Ricky Morton say that in the back one time. He said, we're not doing all that bullshit, kid, but give me an armbar and I'll sell it like I'm in an electric chair. So, you know, Ron has listened.
Yep. You made a remark about, man, help me out. It was Zicky Dice and somebody. You remember
they did a whole lot of nothing to get over. Lodi and Ziggy Dice. I went to the back and I shook both of them's hands. I said, guys, this is how you fucking do a whole lot of nothing to get over. And it went over some guys' heads. I'm going to get all my shit in. Okay. You know, they did. Now tell me they didn't do a whole lot of nothing, Ron.
I filmed it. They ain't do shit.
They didn't do shit. But how was the match?
They worked the piss out of that crowd.
It was all. That's it. That's all that matters. Guys will ask me, go, hey man, did you listen to my match? I'll watch my match, and I go, no. And I'll say, I go, did you hear the crowd? And they'll go, no. I go, neither did I. You don't have to fucking pop me. I'm being paid to be here. Okay, your girlfriend knows the finish because you already fucking told her. Okay, so I mean, you got to work the crowd. There's the ones you got to pop. So I mean, they did a whole lot of nothing. It was awesome. But anyway, back to the card. Thought I got off scale there for a minute, did you?
No, not at all. No, I think we have just one more left.
Takes smart man to act as dumb as I look.
Look at that. They have a Rumble going on.
Yes. Look at that card. Gangrel, Andrew Anderson, the world with the biggest arms. You see the guy to the second to the from the right there, George Hines. That's Bobby Fulton's brother. Kerry Morton. C.W. Anderson. That's for the belt. Mr. Hughes. Mr. Hughes, the only guy to ever take the urn from the Undertaker.
Yep.
And the guy in the right-hand corner at the second row on the top next to Andrew, I don't know his name, but he's Lucky P. Larson, that piece of trash. The Esquire is bringing him in, and I always joke with him. I say, man, you've never met a buffet you don't like. But anyway, big man that can really work. So, great thing right there. I think there's that's for that belt.
Yeah, it's a 18-man over the top rope Royal Rumble style match for Nate the Great's T-Mart Championship.
Yes. Yep. Won it last year. Won it last year.
Retained it last year. Yep.
See, it's actually Mr. Dangerous himself. Let's see. You also have George South. It's going to be.
Wow, God.
He's in it.
I hate to interrupt you now, but I got to announce this motherfucker with a 45-minute time limit because George South will talk shit for 25 minutes. I had to grab the microphone from him last year and run. Okay, but I love George. I really do, man. His gimmick is priceless. He is a prime example. We were in Bluefield, West Virginia, the show I was telling you about that I went back and announced after 30 years after I'd seen my first show. Shit you not. George South sold this lady a T-shirt at his gimmick table. 2 hours later, he's in the main event. She's in a wheelchair. He's talking more shit than a Chinese radio. She stands up. He said, God is real. She has stood up out of her wheelchair, or one or the other thing, she's defrauding the government.
Wow.
He brought her out of the damn wheelchair after she bought a T-shirt from him. That's how you control the crowd, man. That's how you work fans right there. George South is the king of that.
He is. I mean, there's one time his match is going for a while because half the time he's trying to take off the jacket. The jacket itself is the whole thing.
Well, I think the world record is 12 and a half minutes. I always try to remind him of that. So we had a show with him and Lodi, and I went, God damn, this match ain't gonna last but about 2 minutes because Lodi's ring entrance music is 8. Welcome to the jungle. I worked a show where Lodi did that whole song, came back and started it again. And then George took off his jacket and talked shit. It was 22 minutes and they wrestled for 2 minutes. Still blew the roof off.
Crazy. I mean, that's going to be a great match. 18 people.
Yes,
for that
unreal.
You got Court Montgomery here in the corner. Shout out to Court. He's going to be part of this. I hope you win, buddy. Good luck. Got Lodi, the Barbarian. That is a loaded match. And that's not even all that's going to be on there. That's only some
that's worth the price of admission itself.
Right. Man, look, the gathering is always a fantastic time. Like I said, I was there last year. I'm trying to work out the logistics to get there again this year, and that message was not the answer.
So here's the question. You're talking about everything for this weekend. You already told us you're excited for the whole thing, excited for the matches. And you say the T-Mart is already, he starts these early on. Is there anything that he's already planning on for next year for this?
Not that I know of, but I think Marty's goal is to build, just like the old school. He tries to make the next one better than the last one. This is not the largest convention in the world by no stretch of the imagination. There might be 1,000 or 1,200 fans come through there, but he always is giving them way more than their money's worth. I mean, if you do the math on the VIP Ultimate ticket, if you do the math on the signings, if you do the math on any of it, it's just the value for the money. You can't beat it nowhere. And then the access to the wrestlers is unprecedented. I mean, it just really is. And you can ask the fans that, again, sharing that story that I shared with you. Fucking Ric Flair, man, was 2 tables over in the bar.
And that only happens at conventions and stuff like that.
Yes, well, only happened to that convention.
Now,
Okay, because
I do have something that I want you to talk to T-Mart about. I really do.
Okay.
I have a suggestion for next year. What if you had this podcast? I don't know. I'm sure we could think of a couple of them that would stream out certain segments from
could be the official podcast of the gathering.
Live. During the gathering, from the gathering.
Because you're talking about these fan experiences. I want to kind of, and I just throwing this out there. Why not give it a chance for the fans to see that experience themselves if they can't make it, or see what they're missing out, or what they can come see? You still get tickets at the door, right?
Yes, you can. You still can. You still have the general admission for Friday, the general admission for Saturday, and the general admission for Sunday. So I mean, that gives you access to the vendor room and over 75 actually talents that you wouldn't see anywhere else. Because we're only bringing in 24 superstars for the ultimate VIP ticket. So there's over 100 scheduled.
Wow, over 100 people, over 100 legends of professional wrestling.
I think we need to send.
And I'll tell you, man, if you're within the sound of my voice and you're not hanging out at the bar after the show, you're fucking missing it. I mean, it is for the price of a drink. Okay, you get to talk to whoever's there. Eric Bischoff was there. We drank a beer after I, did the thing, but he was talking to fans. Okay, and to talk to Barbara Goodish, who is Bruiser Brody's wife, is like talking to an encyclopedia. It's unreal. I mean, you can't buy that. You can't. One of the coolest things, and again, this is an experience. I think it was from 2 or 3 years ago. I'm not sure. You had the little Australian guy that was Andre the Giant's groundskeeper for his farm while he was gone. Okay, they did the little show. Him and his wife got a divorce, but she runs a museum in the town where Andre's farm is. She came down and brought a jacket and a set of boots of Andre's. Damn boots looked like they were size 22, man. They were huge. Then I put on a jacket and the damn thing went below my knees. So she was there, which was pretty cool. And she said, "Oh, they can just come by and take a picture." Hell, I told her you need to be doing it for $10 or $15. But she was wanting to come by and just do it for free. To try on a jacket of arguably Andre the Giant was the first wrestler in history to ever make $1 million a year, ever. And he made $1 million a year back when $1 million was $5 million. So she had those type of items that they have there. And Wahoo McDaniel's wife comes a lot. And she brought a picture because Wahoo was quite the golfer. Unbelievable golfer.
Met her last year.
Yeah, it was Arnold Palmer, one of the presidents of the United States, and Wahoo McDaniel posing for a picture. So, and the fans were there, and I announced that. And again, not putting myself over, but I swear to you, man, I've been to dozens and dozens and dozens of conventions. They don't have a hype guy. They don't. They just open the damn doors, and it's a free-for-all. Because here's what I try to tell people. There's nothing wrong with any of these conventions. They're making a shitload of money. But what if they had a good hype guy like me?
Oh.
See, people do what you tell them to do. Hey, wrestling fans, 11:30 in the VIP pro photo op room right now is such and such. They run right over there. They don't have to look at their little card and all this bullshit and try to organize stuff and shit. Like, nobody's got a hype guy. But Marty gets that. Marty gets that he needs a hype guy. And I'm the greatest hype guy in the business, period. The end. There is no list. Bill Hazelwood is the fucking list. I'm an average announcer with really nice suits and shit, okay? But as far as hyping the crowd, put me over, Ron. Tell me who's second. I'll wait. There you go. Bill Hazelwood, one page. Okay.
No, I get it because I work conventions, and that's pretty much what I do. Like, let people know, hey, this is going on. This is going to be in the con room for. That's actually how me and Ron met because he heard me doing commentary and kind of telling people, hey, there's wrestling going on over here in the corner.
Yeah, MomoCon.
Yeah, so I totally get it, and I love that. Promoters are kind of trying to get into that when they do these type of shows, kind of like have a hype man or have somebody on there.
Well, every show that I've ever worked, big time wrestling, for example, when they come to Spartanburg or whatever, they have the meet and greet first. I started doing their meet and greets about 10 years ago, and then announced some of their shows. Ricky Morton will tell me all the guys that go to all this. We sell more shit, Bill, when you're on the stick. I just steer them. You just steer the people where you need them to go. And everybody's important. The announcer's important. The podcast guys are important. The bell ringer's important. All of them's important. And because the most important people are the fans. If the fans get an experience that they haven't gotten before, they go, wow, I need to go back there again to get that experience. So, the gathering, the 4-day Marty party is just off the chart. Next year, Ron, we're going to do this earlier. When Marty does some stuff, we're going to start pushing this earlier because, unfortunately, the Ultimate VIP tickets are sold out. The VIP tickets are sold out. The only thing that's available is the general admission tickets.
Wow!
So get your tickets now. Get them now or you can get them at the door. You're missing.
Yes, you can get them at the door. You can walk up, pay $29, walk into that vendor room, and see wrestlers that you grew up as a child watching.
You're missing out on the experience. It's an experience. It's a weekend.
Cannot be explained. Only experience.
I can't argue that at all because it was, like I said, I was there last year. I was sensory overload. No bullshit. Because it was just too much. There was so much at one time. And the ability to walk around and see the guys that you grew up watching, talk to them, have a conversation with them. Oh, hey, I'll see you tomorrow. Because I got to say that to a couple of people, like, well, I'll be seeing you tomorrow. And they kind of looked at me funny, and I'm like, I'm your announcer tomorrow for the charity show we're doing over here. And he was like, oh, shit, you're going to be. I'm like, yes. So.
Ron, how hard was it to get a picture with Tori Wilson being on Bill Hazelwood's shoulder?
Instant.
You gotta know somebody, man. You gotta know somebody.
I love it. It reminds me of a story where, something happened to me. Like I went to a convention, just hung out. It was kind of like a gift for me to hang out at this horror convention, hanging out, drinking at the bar, and it's Lance Henriksen at the bar, just hanging out. And next thing you know, I'm drinking with Lance Henriksen. One of my favorite actors, really underrated if you ask me. And next thing you know, I'm getting him coffee the next day. Like, hey, he's like, he remembers me. Hey, like, you'll give me a coffee or a juice. I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? It's stuff like that happens at conventions,
right?
All the time. It's moments like that, like moments like the Ric Flair moment. Like, it's crazy cool stuff that happens. It only happens at conventions like that, or just experiences.
That's right.
He mentioned Dr. D, David Schultz, earlier, and we were sitting. His table in Tennessee was adjacent to ours.
Yeah, that was at Heroes and Legends,
15 feet from us. We had a table. He had a table. We were right there with him.
Well, was he at the gathering last year, Ron, or I think it maybe a year before last. Hell, I can't remember. It's funny.
They're
and here's the cool
together at this point.
Yeah.
Well, here's the cool thing is, and you walk into a room and I whisper in his ear and he says, you that loudmouth announcer and shit, to be remembered by a guy. And he told me this, we were walking to the bathroom. It was funny as shit when he was taking him to his photo shoot. He said, Animal of the Road Warriors told me, said, man, you're the only fucking guy in the world that slapped a guy in the mouth. He said, we've all slapped some mark in the mouth. He said, but you're the only goddamn guy slap a guy a mark in the mouth, and 35 years later, you're still immortal.
Jesus.
That was the slap heard around the world. That was crazy. So, but he told me that that was probably the best thing to happen for his career because we discussed him being a bounty hunter. And he broke down that, and again, this wasn't in a public setting. This was him and me talking, having a drink in the lobby of the hotel, talking about how much money he made as being a bounty hunter. There's a silver lining in everything. So it was incredible. He broke it down. It blew my mind. And I'll give you this example. Say that, hell, pretend I'm a drug dealer, which I'm not. I'm not. Okay. And Ron's a street level drug dealer. If Ron gets picked up, okay, and arrested, I'm not going to go down there because I'm the fucking kingpin. They're looking for me too. Okay. So David will call them because he knows them. And the bail will be $10,000 for Ron, who's a street level drug dealer. Well, David goes into the court and requests a bail reduction. 90% of the time, it's done. He said sometimes to as low as $1,000. Okay, you pay the bail in full. Okay, you don't need a bail bondsman anymore. He said, I pay the bail in full. He said, you don't really think I gave that goddamn $9,000 back to the drug dealer, do you?
Right.
You know, Ron's back on the street the next day dealing drugs, and the drug dealer don't give a shit. So he said he made more money as a bounty hunter than he ever made in the wrestling business, ever.
Damn.
So, you know, again, that's a story that he's not going to share with a fan, but, you know, and you know, to stroll up on him at the gathering, and he goes, there you go. He didn't remember my name until I told him, but he said, you loudmouth little son of a bitch. I mean, I think that is the ultimate compliment. I really do.
Right. We're going to catch on some comments right here. Bill Wright from Overdriver Pro LLC has chimed in. The gathering sounds like a wrestling dream come true. It is.
Oh, it is, hands down.
He also said Bill Hazelwood, the voice of hype, the voice of wrestling.
Who? What? Oh, me? Oh,
yeah, you.
Tell him Cash App is on the way.
Okay. Well, I don't know Bill's Cash App. So I can't help you there.
Isn't it Overdriver?
No, I'm gonna send him money for saying that.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know his Cash App, so I can't.
Oh, okay.
And then Clifford Stanley, one of the referees in the North Carolina area, it's the connections you have in wrestling that get you where you want to go in this business.
Yes, Clifford, I'm sorry that I haven't gotten back with you. You're one of probably 100 people that has reached out to me and asking if we need any help at the gathering. So I'm just an announcer, man. I mean, Marty, unfortunately, is the man. So hell, he booked me. I can't book you. So that's just the way shit works. So
right. Everybody's gonna reach out to Bill Hazelwood.
It wasn't that I was ignoring him, but if I got back with him, I'd have to get back with everybody.
Right.
This is true. This is true.
Yeah. He said he understood. But
I'm excited for it. Unfortunately, I can't make it. Ron, you better get a picture or something your day there, man. You better go live. This could have been a great opportunity for us to have been live there, you know.
Hey, man, I got a hookup. This is for Ron's buddy, fellow podcaster here, man. If you dress up as Mickey Mouse, I can get you close to a lot of people. Tell him, Ron.
Yeah, that's okay. So I've been in a headlock from
Barry Orwood. And he grabbed Tori Wilson's ass as Mickey Mouse. I saw him do that.
As Mickey Mouse, because I was dressed up as Mickey Mouse at the gathering last year. I was Mickey and Bill's wife was Minnie.
And so we got you up close and personal to the stars, didn't we?
Dude. Not Aldous. Damn it. Who was the guy Aldous wrestled last year? Help me out.
The one that's married to Camille.
Camille, yeah. Shit.
Brother, they put on a clinic. They put on a clinic in the ring, didn't they?
Yeah, they were fantastic.
See, this is how I judge.
Clifford said he was there too for that.
Superstar talent. You ready? And I told Nick and Lattimore last year. I went in the back and told him after this, and I tell everybody this. This is how I judge these superstar guys. They bumped as hard in that ring as they do if they were at WrestleMania. That's how I judge superstar talent when you book them on an indie show. And I'm not burying any talent, but I've heard guys say this before. Hey, man, have you been paid? They go, yeah. And they go, hey, man, let's go in the back and retalk the match. So they cut out a bunch of shit. And I'm not burying guys. That's just shit that I've heard. That's just a relayance of facts, okay? Nick Aldis and Lattimore, buddy, they fucking bumped their ass off at that show.
Right.
Okay? So that they worked. That's how I judge if a superstar going out on the indie scene is worth the big money that he's demanding. Do you work as hard in front of hundreds of people as you do tens of thousands of people? If you don't, you can kiss my ass. I don't really fucking care. Okay. So worst thing you can do is whip my ass. But you know, I just tell people straight up, but I went in the back and told them that. And I'm telling you, Camille and God almighty, Brain dead.
Ellerig. Paul
Yeah,
Ellerig's daughter.
Paul
Rachel.
Ellerig's daughter.
Rachel
They
Ellerig.
stole the damn show, brother. That's why I'm thinking this Saturday night that Savannah Evans, okay, and Samantha Starr, the women stole the show last year, brother. They worked their ass off. And maybe because they came on before Nick and Latimer, maybe they pushed those guys. Maybe they pushed them. Made them have to, because those women tore the shit up, didn't they?
They were awesome. They
were off the start. I got on the
closer.
stick afterwards and I said, that was not a ladies match. That was not a divas match. That was two badass women beating the hell out of each other. And the crowd went crazy when I said that. So,
there's only one way to be closer than I was to that action last year. You had to be the referee.
That's it.
I was ringside running Roman Campbell.
You were 5 feet from the ring and 10 feet from the violence, wasn't you, Ron?
That's Bill Hazelwood said. I was 5 inches from the ring. I wasn't even 5 feet. I was 5 inches because I had that camera inside the ropes. I was there, Jack. It was unreal being around that level of talent.
I had a better seat than you. Camille's ass looks better in the ring than it does out of the ring.
Terrible.
All righty then.
So
shook up his train of thought there for a minute, didn't I?
Yeah. Now, the cool thing was with working that show, I've never had a producer in my ear before or a director in my ear before. So they're telling me what they want filmed as it's happening live and being produced on pay-per-view.
Shit's harder than it looks, ain't it?
Man, you ain't lying. I worked my ever-loving ass off.
That's awesome.
That's what I try to tell people, man. There's different levels of everything. There's different levels of acting. There's different levels of football. There's certainly different levels of professional wrestling. And when you get to that level, okay, you've got to be able to set yourself apart, whether you're a ring announcer, whether you're a cameraman. I try to tell people this all the time, and nothing against AEW. They got a great product. They got a bunch of great talent. Tony Khan's got a fucking shitload of money. Okay. But if you watch WWE's camera crew, they've had 30 years to figure this shit out.
Yep.
Okay. The way they zoom in, the way they shake the camera, the little things that they do. Because if you go to a live event, even if it's on TV, okay, if it's Monday night or Friday night, it's a great event. Don't get me wrong. You know, if you want to buy the tickets, go do it. But they produce that shit for TV. You know why? Because they can't put 2 million people in a fucking arena. They can put 2 million people on TV Friday night. So, you know, like you said, to have somebody in your ear, okay, that wasn't for the people there. They wasn't talking about you being there. They were talking about the shit that we had on TV streaming.
Right.
Okay. So when you get to that level of whatever you do, it's a whole different ball game. And I've had 22 years to evolve to that. And, you know, I'm all excited about tomorrow and Friday and Saturday and Sunday. Not for me. I mean, because, you know, I know what I'm doing. But the fans is what it's about. I try to tell everybody, I want, regardless of what I joke about and bullshit on anti-social media, I want every show to be sold to the fucking rafters every time, because the fans always win when it's that way. They do. The boys work harder in front of a big crowd. The fans get their money's worth. Everybody does their job. Everybody goes home happy. So, I mean, I want everybody to succeed, even the guys that are failing. But the sad part about it is the guys that are failing and failing and failing and failing, you need to get the fuck out. They just do. If you ain't got the shit figured out, it's okay. Step aside and let somebody know that's got it figured out do it. So, but I want them all to succeed. I just do. And regardless of what I say, and, you know, on social media or anti-social media, as I call it, you know, fucking with people, that's all I'm doing, because my serial status is exactly the same tomorrow morning. I don't give a shit. You know, I'm just fucking with you. But, you know, but the gathering to me is the ultimate fan experience. I mean, it just really is. I mean, again, dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of great conventions out there. But, you know, Marty Diamanto just does it better than anybody I've ever seen. He just really does.
Man, it's going to be a hell of a time in one big-ass city this weekend.
Charlotte. North Carolina, the Queen City, the Hilton University Place, the Gathering. Cannot be explained, only experience, where they give you the biggest bang for your buck. And Saturday night, we put you 5 feet from the ring and 10 feet from the violence. But the other thing is, they needed a better announcer because the announcer they got now sucks.
I'm not announcing that show, by the way.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Ron. I thought you were taking my spot again. I'm sorry. My bad.
No, I am not taking your spot.
Well, there we have it. Anything else you want to go over, Bill, or anything else you want to promote?
Man, there's too much to go over. I mean, it just really is. Like I said, the barbecue tomorrow night, Q&A starting at 4:00. You get to stay right there at the hotel. Again, I'm pushing for next year because we're sold the fuck out. I mean, I get it. I mean, we could squeeze you in. You come over and get $29. There's no big thing. But next year will be bigger and better. For your money. Let me give a quick 2-minute rundown. If you're an ultimate VIP ticket holder, which I highly suggest you need to do, Thursday you get a Q&A, 2 Q&As. I'm sorry. You get the barbecue with the wrestlers. Also, the Hilton has a pool, so and a bar. But Friday you get the vendor room, which the vendors step up every year and bring in superstars. Last year, High Spots brought in Bret the Hitman Hart. Okay, in the vendor room, not a VIP guest. Friday night, you as an ultimate VIP ticket holder, you get the dinner where you get hear the guys talk about stuff, get awards, and eat dinner. Saturday, again, the vendor room, and then you get access to the matches on Saturday night. The pro photo ops Sunday, the same thing. I mean, it's just loaded up. I mean, it just really, really is. I mean, like, again, not burying any other convention out there because they're all phenomenal. But the WrestleCons and stuff like that, or the Comic Cons, those are movie stars and shit like that sprinkled in with wrestlers. This is 100% wrestlers. The convention coming up in Winston-Salem is going to be phenomenal too, but it's just a little more fast paced. There's a lot of shit going on there, so there's a lot of shit to do, and you don't get to see a lot of shit. You're limited on what you can do. But the gathering, the AKA 4-day Marty Party, is that small, intimate setting. And everybody that I've ever talked to always tells me the same thing, man. This is the greatest thing for the money I've ever been involved with as far as fans. And that's all that matters.
That's it.
That's what I tell people. That's all that matters. All the other shit's irrelevant. The fans, if they have the ultimate experience, that's the ultimate goal for everybody.
It is. That's the ultimate goal for every show. That's the ultimate goal for every podcast. It's the ultimate goal in entertainment.
Right.
And that's
I want to add this. I've said this before. Guys ask me this all the time to explain professional wrestling to them on a modern day level. Because people know what it is. Hell, Vince broke kayfabe 30 fucking years ago. Our job as entertainers is simple. Everybody has problems. It's like my daddy said, everybody's family screwed up. Some people could just hide it better than others. Okay. Our job as entertainers is to have these people leave their problems at home, in their car, in the parking lot, or at least at the door for 2 hours, several hours, or in our spot here in 4 days at the conventions. Okay. And to make them forget about all the problems going on around in America, all that other shit, so much so that next year they'll want to come back and forget those problems again. It's that simple. If you do the show the same way, if your show is booked that way, independent promoters, if you make those fans forget about their problems for about 2, 3, 4 hours, they'll come back next month and want to forget again. It's that simple. Don't overcomplicate it.
Oh.
Man,
some wise words there.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
I googled that, read that from some shit from somebody from Aristotle or some shit. I'm just joking.
You read that shit on the back of a menu at a fucking Chinese joint in West Virginia,
and said written by Bill Hazelwood. Oh,
there you go. What were you doing writing literature for a Chinese restaurant? Give me a break.
I said dang dang dong dang wah wah. I don't know any Chinese, but I know some Spanish. You ready? Pico de gallo and grande cerveza, por favor. Okay.
I'll give him that.
Okay, I was about to say that I ain't got you. I know Porto Baño. That's all I know. And I only
Grande
know that-
Cerveza is large beer, Ron.
Okay. I know Porto Baño, which is bathroom, and I only know that because of Taco Hell.
Grab your crotch; they'll still point you to the bathroom. They'll be all right.
Gotcha.
Y'all are
Fantastic.
terrible. On that note,
Yes.
thank you, Bill.
Mr. Hazelwood, thank you very much for joining us. I
Thank
hope
you, man.
had a
It's
great
been a
time.
pleasure.
Hopefully, I will get to see you on Saturday. Like I say, I'm still working on trying to get everything kind of.
Text me when you're on the way, and I'll hide.
Perfect. Well, no,
Not gonna make this
believe it or
easy
not,
for you. Trust me.
Believe it or not, I'm gonna text you. If I can make it Saturday, I come bearing gifts.
Yeah, love to have you. Love to have you.
So I will do my best to get there, and if I do, I come bearing gifts.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Well, guys,
All
I
right.
tell you, man, it's 9:56 at 10 o'clock at night before the gathering. Bill Hazelwood turns into a pumpkin. Okay, so like I said, the gathering at the Hilton University Place, Charlotte, North Carolina. If you can make it this year, that's cool. General admission tickets still available. If not, I highly recommend that you plan for next year because, like I said, we block out a block of rooms. You can stay there at the Hilton. They've got great dining, all that stuff within 5 minutes. The wrestling's there, the convention's there. I dare anybody anywhere to show me a better deal for the money than Marty Diamanto puts on at the Marty Party. And remember, we'll see you at the matches.
Oh, you almost got my line. Because our line is, we'll see you
At the Indies.
That's right. You guys take it light. Have a great night. Thanks again,
guys.
Bill. You guys have a great evening, and go check out the gathering this weekend.